Let's talk about a problem where you're asked to partition a line segment into a given ratio. In this example, we're supposed to partition line segment AB into a ratio so that AP to PB is 1 to 3. Let's talk for a moment about what that means for AP to PB to have a ratio of 1 to 3. Here's our line segment, and remember, we're looking for the point P that's 1/4 of the way from A to B, because we said 1 over 1 plus 3 is going to be the 1/4 point, or the quarter point. Let's do our vertical distance first. -6 minus 2 is -8. Well, what's 1/4 of -8? 1/4 of -8 is going to be the same thing as -8 divided by 4, and that's going to be -2. Now let's take a look at our horizontal distance. The horizontal distance from A to B is 1, 2, 3, 4. We can get that by subtraction by saying 3 minus -1 is 4. Now what's 1/4 of 4? Just 1. That's easy. So this means that we're going to be subtracting 2 from our first y value, and we're going to be adding 1 to our first x value. x1 plus 1 is going to be -1 plus 1. That's 0. And y2 minus 2 is going to be 2 minus 2. That's also going to be 0. So it looks like the point that's 1/4 of the way from A to B is right here at the origin. It's 0, 0. It might be tempting at first to think, well, AP is going to be 1/3 of the entire length of the segment. But if you think that, you wouldn't be right. Here's why. This is what the ratio of 1 to 3 would look like if we drew out AB with point P in between P and B. In our illustration, AP is 1/4 of the total length of the line segment, and PB is 3/4 of the total length of the line segment. So when we try to find where point P is located, we're looking for the point that is 1/4 of the way along the directed line segment from A to B. Here's how we need to think about it. AP over AB is not going to be 1 over 3. It's going to be 1 over 1 plus 3, the total distance across the line segment. And that's going to be 1 over 4. So let's take that number 1/4 and go back to our problem. Now let's try this same problem, this time using our formula instead of the graph. Let's go ahead and identify x1, y1, x2, y2, and a and b. Here's x1 and y1, x2 and y2, and a is going to be the first part of our ratio, and we'll let b be the second part of our ratio. Now we're ready to start substituting numbers into our formula. Let's start with just the x's. x1 is -1, a is 1, b is 3, x2 is 3, and x1 is -1. So we have -1 plus 1 over 1 plus 3 times 3 minus -1. Let's just use the order of operations to start figuring this out. Our fraction functions as a grouping symbol, so let's do that first. 1 over 1 plus 3 is going to become 1 over 4. Our next grouping symbol is this set of parentheses over here, so we'll do 3 minus -1. That's the same thing as 3 plus 1, so 4. As we said before, 1/4 of 4 is 1. So this is -1 plus 1, which is 0. Okay, now let's try our y's. y1 is 2, and y2 is -6. And then a and b are the same. They're still 1 and 3. So now we've got 2 plus 1 over 1 plus 3 multiplied by -6 minus 2. Again, let's turn that 1 over 1 plus 3 into 1/4. -6 minus 2 is going to be -8. We talked about 1/4 of -8 earlier, and we said it was -2. So this is going to become 2 plus -2, which is 0. So using our formula, we once again found that the point that's 1/4 of the way from A to B is going to be 0, 0. That will occur at the origin.